Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams.
On behalf of ISKCON Chennai and on my own personal behalf, I have great pleasure to welcome all devotees for today's session. We are slowly moving into the 18th chapter towards the conclusion. We have deliberately slowed down because the conclusions of Bhagavad Gita are contained in the 18th chapter, especially towards the ending shlokas. Krishna, through Arjuna, is giving us the essence of Bhagavad Gita, what he is trying to give to all of us. So this has to be relished and it has to be realized. We have to clearly try and understand what Krishna intends to tell us. Many things we learn by empirical experience, by observing the world around us. In fact, we have been living our life only on the basis of empirical knowledge, what we gather through our own senses, or we learn through what others have experienced in this world, and we learn from them. This is the way we have been learning, and we thought this is the only way to get higher knowledge. That we have to go on trying through a process of trial and error, and someday, Eureka, we will have the ultimate truth with us. All scientists are telling us, they are trying to find out the ultimate truth. And they also tell us, we are inching closer. We know much more than we ever knew. 100 years ago, what mankind knew. Today we know so much more than that. And especially within the last 50 years. And within the last decade, or within the last 1 year, there is an explosion of knowledge. Because computer science has expanded so much, metadata, crunching of large amount of data, we have developed huge capacities in that, and we are able to send rockets beyond the solar system and study things. We are trying to send rockets to the sun. So they are saying, our knowledge is expanding. And theoretical scientists are also giving us so many new theories, and our knowledge is expanding. So the day is not far when the ultimate truth will be known to us. So we believe that, and we think, one day through the scientists we will come to know whether we are alive or not. Maybe my generations, somebody, my grandson or my great-grandson may have the good fortune to know what is the absolute truth from the lips of our scientists. So we always thought it is an ascending process, a process of going up, and our knowledge keeps on expanding. But there is another science, which is spiritual science, which is not empirical. It descends from the spiritual world, because there is a world beyond material world. This material world is an egg, anda, but it is beyond this anda. So that spiritual world, unless the knowledge comes down, we will not know. Like if I am dreaming, somebody wants to wake me up, they enter into my dream and say, come on, you are dreaming. So I begin to wonder, what could this be? Something like that. This material world is like a dream for us. And the Lord personally comes, the Lord sends his devotees, the representatives, spiritual masters. He sends the scriptures. In so many ways, he's trying to wake up the souls which are actually sleeping here. So that way, we should access the descending knowledge. with the help of a spiritual master from the authorized scriptures in a parampara system. So that is the way to get knowledge. So now Krishna is doing that through Arjuna. Arjuna, now I am giving you confidential knowledge. What is the meaning of confidential knowledge? People don't know. So if people don't know, how you will get that knowledge? Unless somebody who knows it gives you. So it is confidential. That means most people do not know, is it not? Then Krishna says, more confidential knowledge, that means even less people know. And he says, most confidential knowledge, which means very, very few people know this knowledge. From where it comes, it descends. So only people who connect to the descending knowledge have that information. And others who are willing to connect to that knowledge, they become qualified. They become eligible to get that knowledge. That's why the knowledge remains confidential. So today we are going to see a few amazing shlokas. It is not 56 to 60. It is 61 to 65 we are going to do. And let us all join together in our Mangalacharanam prayers. Om Ajnanatirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadandikam Vandeham Shri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajataham Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Jishakanvitamscha Namavom Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarini He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Neelachala Nivasaya Nityaya Paramatmane Bhalabhadra Subhadrabhyam Shri Jagannathaya Te Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langaide girim yatkripa tamaham vande Shri Gurum Dhinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tatsat Saropanishado Gavo Dogda Gopalanandanaha Partho Vatsaha Sudhir Bhokta Dugdam Gita Amritam Mahat Hare Krishna. So by now we all know that Arjuna is a pure devotee of the Lord. A pure devotee means he is an eternal associate of the Lord. When the Lord comes down, he also comes down. Whatever incarnation the Lord takes, in some form, he is always present with him. Just as the Lord never becomes deluded, never becomes controlled by his own three modes, which are his external energy. They are always subservient to the Lord. They cannot overpower the Lord. In a similar way, his pure devotees also cannot be overpowered by Maya, by the three modes of material nature. But because Krishna is so compassionate to all of us, he uses one of his pure devotees who is also as compassionate as himself He uses him as an instrument by putting him into confusion, because the Lord can do anything. He is using his pure devotee as an instrument by putting him under delusion. And through him, the questions are asked and the answers are given. But still, we should remember, yes, Arjuna is a pure devotee. He can straight away understand the message that Krishna is giving. And because we are not pure, we are all controlled by the three modes of material nature. So, through a very compassionate Acharya Parampara with greater explanations and commentaries, we are in a position to access this knowledge, this most confidential knowledge of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So we should always remain grateful to the Guru Parampara and to Krishna himself for being so merciful to us. So the mood of gathering this particular knowledge is one of gratitude and complete sense of humility, that we feel completely unqualified, that such a high knowledge which is accessible only to those who are pure, completely pure at heart, Brahma Bhuta, one who has completely realized the Brahman, only such people are qualified to get this knowledge. But in this Kali Yuga, despite our very, very fallen condition, the same knowledge is being given to us. Not only that, with so much compassion, in a way that we can easily understand and digest and practice in our life. So, in that, let us see first shloka. Yeah. So 61st shloka, let us read. It's a very, very important shloka. Everyone should try to memorize this. One of the most important shlokas of Gita. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hriddeshe arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarva bhutani yantra rudhani mayaya. There are some very important words which we have to understand. Ishvara means the Supreme Lord. Sarva bhutana hriddeshe, in the region of the heart, within all living entities, within every living entity, Ishvara, the Supreme Lord, is present. Where? In the heart of every living entity. Tishtati, he is present there. Brahmayan sarva bhutani. Brahmayan means because of delusion, that I am this body, this wrong identification. Brahmayan sarva bhutani, all the living entities. Yantra rudhani mayaya. Maya Devi has given us this body which is like a machine, yantra. In this machine, the living entity, the soul, is sitting. He is traveling in this vehicle. I have this particular body for this lifetime. Can I say that? No. Even within this one lifetime, I have changed so many bodies. Maya Devi is providing. When I was born, she gave me a very small body. Then from that time, imagine how many bodies I have changed. But I think I am this body, I am this body. I forget the past body I had. The present body only I remember. So, Brahmayan, because of this illusion caused by the three modes of material nature. How they operate on me? Because of my ignorance. When did that ignorance start? Anadi. When the soul fell down into this material world is unknown, anadi, there is no beginning. It is not measured in time. When the spirit soul fell down into this material pool of illusion, it is unknown. So karma has no beginning, but karma has an end. We should remember. We can end the karma. We don't know the beginning of karma, but the karma can be ended. How? By coming into contact with pure devotees and starting the process of bhakti, we can end karma. So here, what is being told is, one second. Krishna is telling, "Oh Arjun, the Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart. And what he is doing? He directs the wandering of all souls." Now, please take care. I have explained it before, but we tend to forget every time. When I say God is directing the wandering of all souls, somebody may ask, then how do you blame me? I am being directed by the Lord. Oh, so I am wandering. Even my wandering is under the control of the Lord. So why do you make me responsible for my karma? I should not be made responsible. I hope most of you have gone beyond this doubt because we have been going through 18 chapters. But even now, to briefly tell you, the soul, out of its ignorance, has developed attachment with matter, its own material body, and with the help of material senses, it is trying to enjoy material sense objects. Because of all these sense pleasure oriented activities, the soul has accumulated karma. All these are done with the independence given to the soul by the Lord. The Lord has given independence to the soul to desire. The willpower, we say the willpower, the freedom to choose. Yes, the freedom to choose, that is given to us by the Lord. And it is never withdrawn. The exercise of my will is my birthright, the soul's birthright. The Lord will never interfere with that. But because the soul is so tiny, the Lord is supremely independent. Whatever He wishes instantly gets fulfilled. There is no limitation on His freedom. His free will is unbridled. Nothing is there to control His freedom. But the spirit soul, even though qualitatively one with the Lord, by falling down into the material pool, it is controlled by the external energy of the Lord, the three modes of material nature. The Lord can never be controlled, even when He comes into the material world. But the tiny spirit soul does get controlled. It forgets itself. It starts thinking, I am this body, and begins to get attracted towards sense objects. So, the soul by itself is unable to do things except that it desires. The material energy of the Lord, though it is unconscious, it is being controlled by Mahamaya Devi, who is the Lord's, the controller of external energy. She is called Durga Devi. Yes, she is operating this material energy. So it is said, Maya Adhyakshena Prakriti Suyatesa Characharam. The Lord is saying the external energy is operating under my supervision. So Maya Devi operates under the supervision of the Lord. So the Lord's presence is always there. On His instruction only, Maya Devi does various things. She creates various situations for the soul. Yes. So in that sense, the Lord is directing the wandering of the soul. For example, when somebody dies, the super soul is traveling with the soul when the soul leaves the body. And then it is directing the soul into an appropriate body in which he can experience what he desired to experience. So, two things are operating. One is his own unfulfilled desires. Number two, the results of his past karma. Subject to these, Krishna or the super soul directs the soul into an appropriate body. So, once the body is given, the soul has to operate within the nature of that body. So, for example, somebody goes into the body of a pig, unfortunately, then he will look for stool only. If you give halwa, he will reject it. He will try and see where fresh stool is available. So once the soul gets into a body, the soul identifies with the body. Then that particular body is under the control of the three modes in a particular way, a particular combination. The soul becomes subjected to that. That means the soul becomes tightly bound by the three modes of material nature, appropriate to the body which it occupies. That is one thing. And the Lord also reminds the soul. You see, in your you wanted to do this, no? You wanted to experience this, no? That kindling of memory also the Lord does. So the Lord gives memory, the Lord gives forgetfulness, all these things the Lord does. So ultimately, the soul is responsible for its desires. If it has wrong desires, the soul is responsible for those desires. Whatever happens, it happens by the desire of the soul. The Supreme Lord or the Super Soul has no desire at all. He is just a witness. But he's not a helpless witness, you see, because he's also directing. According to the desire of the soul, he's directing the wandering, the body that it will get, and the kind of situation in which the soul will be placed. All this the Lord will provide. But within that situation, what the soul chooses, soul has the freedom. Say, for example, someone has been a drunkard for many lifetimes, and that nature continues, addiction. So one day he is sitting in a room. In front of him, there is a glass of milk and there's a glass of liquor. Now, does he have a choice or not? Which one to choose? Nobody is telling him you choose this or that. They say you choose what you want. But what he will choose liquor. Someone who is not addicted, someone who is health conscious will choose the milk. So here you see, you can say the soul has its free will, or you can also say the soul has lost its free will. But it is not that the soul has lost the free will, rather the soul has surrendered the free will, because surrender is a voluntary action. The soul has surrendered its free will by repeatedly indulging in a particular habit of taking intoxicating drinks. So today, when the choice is there, the soul is unable to even recognize that choice. So if you are not able to recognize the choice, you will say, I have no choice. For example, somebody is working in a particular company and he has a bad boss. And the boss wants him to commit some sinful activities. The subordinate performs that sinful activity. Say he commits a murder or he cheats somebody, indulges in corruption. If you ask him, he will say, I had no choice. My boss was ordering me to do what else I could do. So he will refuse to recognize that he has a choice. You have to talk to him maybe for hours together to ultimately make him say, yes, when my boss ordered, I need not have executed his order. That might mean I will lose my job. That might mean I won't be able to feed my family. That might mean I will come on the street. But yes, the choice was there. I could have given up employment under that person and I could have sincerely tried to find somewhere else where I can lead a moral life. So, but this is one example I am giving you. If you look at your own, if you review your own life, you will find how many times we thought I had no choice, but it was not true. We had our choice. Today, you see the modern government, there are so many people, we have a hierarchy. Within the hierarchy, people are placed somewhere, and every time person, a subordinate, always feels what I have to do. I have to simply execute the order of my superior. And in that understanding, they are willing to do any crime. And that is why the world has become so much full of crime. Because people think, no, I have to keep my job at any cost, so that I have no choice with it. So this is what we have to understand. So who is responsible? I am working under a boss, and the boss is directing me to do something wrong, and I comply with that. Am I responsible or not? People may say, no, I should not be held responsible, but sorry, you are responsible for all your choices. If you have not recognized your own choices, that means you have surrendered your free will. But that surrendering of the free will is also an exercise of your free will. You exercise your free will to surrender to Maya. You can exercise the same free will to surrender to Krishna. What is stopping you? So that way we have to understand that this is a machine. Our body is a machine given by the external energy, Maya Devi, and we are wandering. And in the wandering, whatever actions we do, we are responsible for those actions. The Lord is directing the soul based on its past karma and past unfulfilled desires. So here, Prabhupada goes on to say, Arjuna is an example of a soul, a confused soul. So he doesn't know everything. Who knows everything? Supreme Lord knows everything. Arjuna has only limited knowledge. So within this limited knowledge, Arjuna is saying, Krishna, I don't want to fight. I don't want to kill my own relatives, etc. All this is based on his limited understanding. But the Supreme Lord, who is in the knowledge of everything, so he is directing him about what activity he has to do now. So, as a soul with limited knowledge, we will be very, very what is it? It will be a very intelligent choice on our part to agree to obey the instructions of the Lord by accepting that my knowledge is limited. Within that limited knowledge, I am deciding. But here is the Lord who has full knowledge of everything. So let me accept the guidance of the Lord. Then we are really wise. Then we are really well directed. So that is the message here. The Lord knows the past, present, and future. The Lord knows here, there, and everywhere, whatever is going on. So in that full knowledge, the Lord is directing us. So even though we have a free will, the correct use of the free will is to accept the guidance of the Lord. Accept the guidance of the Lord. Not that, no, Krishna, you want me to do like this, but I feel it is better that I act in the opposite way. Is it a correct understanding that I know better than the Lord? So this is what we need to cultivate. Now, theoretically, we have understood that obeying the Lord is in our best interest, but it won't come easily. Every time when the challenge, when the dilemma is between our mind, following our mind and following the Lord, we will invariably choose the mind if we are accustomed to doing that in the past. The Lord is telling one thing, mind is telling one thing. I will surrender to the mind. But we have to gradually practice this, that never to surrender to the mind. Say, yesterday was a Ekadashi day. Okay, so we know Ekadashi is a very auspicious day. I should observe fasting from grains. And the ISKCON temple, they can guide me, devotees can guide me how to observe the fast. But, oh, I have never observed the fast. I can never starve. Whenever I feel hungry, I have to eat. So I don't want to observe the fast. So like these choices we are making, even though we know the Lord has directed that Ekadashi should be observed, it is one of the most powerful ways of kindling bhakti in our heart. But still, because of laziness, because of past habits, we give 1,000 excuses to say, no, this is not for me. I have some health issues, I have so many issues. I don't even give a serious effort to see whether there are ways in which I can still execute the fast. So these are the areas where gradually we should increase our surrender to Krishna with the help of devotees and reduce our surrender to the mind, which is in the influence of Maya. So the soul gets whatever he deserves. So the body given by the Lord is basically what we deserve. But the soul is always controlled by the three modes of material nature until he surrenders to the Lord. So this is the important message. 62. Tameva sharanam gaccha sarva bhavena bharata tatprasadat param shantim sthanam prapsyasi shashvatam. Krishna is telling, you surrender to him. Who? The one who is inside you, who is directing your wandering. So Krishna says, surrender to him. Who is that person? Paramatma. So Krishna says, what we discussed in the previous shloka, this is the continuation. The Lord said first, the Paramatma is guiding the wandering of the soul. Now he is telling, surrender to that Paramatma. Let him guide you. Don't be guided by your mind and by your delusion, but surrender to Paramatma. By doing that, what will happen? Whatever the Lord within says, you will follow. And you might say, no, my Lord within is not talking to me. Then he has come to you in the form of Bhagavad Gita. So learn it well, learn it deeply, learn it in the association of devotees. If you have doubts, you ask, accept a spiritual master, serve that person. In these ways, you will get very clear understanding. Jnana Deepena Bhashvata. The Lord will light the lamp of wisdom in your heart. So that way you can surrender to the Lord. Basically, the point is you should no longer serve your mind whimsically. It is going to lead you into unlimited number of future births and deaths, birth and death in this material world. If you want to become free once and for all, you have to surrender to the Paramatma within. By doing that, what I will get? Tat prasadat, by the mercy of the Paramatma, what you will get? You will get Param Shanti, a higher peace than you have ever experienced. Because from this peace, there is no disturbing. The kind of peace that we experience, within a short time we become bored of that peace. We become tired of that peace. I want something to happen. But this peace is absolute, placid. It's totally fulfilling contentment. That is a kind of shanti, param shanti. And sthanam prapsyasi shashvatam. Shashvatam means eternal. Sthanam, you will attain that abode which is eternal, which is that Vaikuntha. So the Lord is telling, if you surrender to the Paramatma within and you accept his guidance, you will reach Vaikuntha. And before that, you will experience complete freedom and peace of mind in this material world. So the Lord is saying that. So Paramam Padam, that is the abode of the Lord. And here, Prabhupada is giving a very amazing connect. See, right now we said this is Paramatma. Yes, surrender to Paramatma. Why Paramatma? Because in the previous shloka we saw Sarva Bhutanam Hrideshe Arjuna Tishtati. In the heart of every living entity, the Paramatma is situated. And Krishna said, you surrender to him. So Prabhupada gives a connection here. In the 15th chapter, you will remember Purushottama Yoga. We read that Sarvasya Chaham Hridi Sannivishto Matta Smriti Jnanam Apohanam Cha. Here the Lord is referring to the Paramatma. In the 15th chapter, he said, Sarvasya Cha Aham Hridi Sannivishto. Arjun, I am sitting in the heart of every living entity. Sarvasya Cha Aham Sannivishto. I am in the heart of everyone. Matta Smriti Jnanam Apohanam Cha. I give them remembrance, I give them forgetfulness, everything it is coming from me. So, Prabhupada is connecting. So, the Paramatma is none other than Krishna only. So, for a Jnani, he sees the super soul as Paramatma. But for a Bhakta, it is actually Krishna only. So Prabhupada is clarifying, as a Bhakta, please understand, you are being asked to surrender to Krishna. So when Krishna says, Tameva Sharanam Gacha, surrender to the Paramatma, but we should understand, Krishna has already told, he only is personally sitting in the heart. Is it a contradiction? No, it's not a contradiction. How? Because as long as you don't become a devotee of the Lord, the Paramatma inside will remain dispassionate. He will be just a mere witness. He will not take interest in you to guide you on a particular way because you don't want guidance. The soul doesn't want any guidance, so Paramatma remains neutral. He doesn't actively engage in guiding the soul on the correct path. He remains a witness, neutral. But when you become a devotee, the same Paramatma becomes Krishna for you. From that time onwards, he takes complete charge of your life. Oh, the soul has turned to me. Now I will guide the soul because the soul is now willing to accept my guidance. And Krishna in such a way that gradually guide your way. He will destroy your karma and he will guide you on a proper way so that you can go back to him. Because the desire has woken up in you, even very slightly. Then there is no longer the neutral Paramatma. Rather, a well-wishing friend is sitting in your heart. Well-wishing friend is sitting in your heart and he is going to guide you. So, Prabhupada is telling the instruction here is to surrender not to Paramatma but to Krishna. So, then by his grace you will attain transcendental peace and the supreme eternal abode, and as a result you will become free from all material misery. So, all material misery is only because we have not surrendered to the Supreme Lord. When you accept the Supreme Lord as your well-wisher, Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam Sarva Loka Maheshwaram Suhritam Sarva Bhutanam Dhyatva Mam Shanti Mrichati Suhritam Sarva Bhutanam. Krishna says, I am a well-wishing friend of every living entity. Just by knowing this, Arjun, you can get abiding peace. Dhyatva Mam Shanti Mrichati. You will get permanent peace by knowing Krishna as your well-wishing friend. Paramatma sitting in your heart as Krishna and your well-wishing friend, you get complete freedom from all kinds of suffering. So this is the message of 62, and let us go to 63. Itite jnanam akyatham guhyat guhyataram maya vimrishye tata seshena yathe chasita takuru. It's a very important shloka because you see the shloka ends like this. Yathe ichchasi tata kuru. Yatha means yatha ichchasi tata kuru. As you want to do, you do like that. What the Lord is telling? After speaking 18 chapters, up to 62 shlokas, the Lord has spoken. 18 chapters is also finished. But what the Lord is telling? Arjun, I have explained to you very, very confidential knowledge. Guhya guhyataram. More secret than secret. I have explained that information to you. Now consider seriously. Vimrishyai tat aseshena. Aseshena means completely you recollect what I have told you. 18 chapters I have spoken. Almost 650 shlokas I have spoken to you. Now deliberate on that, Arjun. This is what Krishna is suggesting. Deliberate on that. And then you decide what you want to do. You see here, this is the message you should take. We are also listening to Bhagavad Gita. We have also listened to 650 shlokas. Now, Krishna is not going to force you. See, now I have told you Bhagavad Gita. Now you have to simply follow whatever I have told. He's not saying like that to Arjun. And that is what he's telling us also. What he's telling? Deliberate on this. Read Bhagavad Gita. Understand Bhagavad Gita. Ask questions from your guide. Approach the pure devotees, the spiritual master. Thoroughly try to understand. And then do as you please. So please remember this phrase. Yathechasi tatha kuru. As you wish to do, do. This is the freedom. Now you will understand what is the freedom of the soul. Whatever doubts you had about the freedom of the soul, you have now understood clearly. The Lord is guiding you on one side. On the other side, your mind is pulling you in different directions. Mind is influenced by the modes of nature. Your senses are pulling and the mind is pulling. And so you have to decide now, am I following the mind or am I following the Lord? The Lord has given me all directions and guidance, and He has also told me, take shelter of your Paramatma or take shelter of Krishna. But then He's not forcing. He's never going to force you. He says, Yatha ichchasi tata kuru. So the person who chooses to surrender to Krishna, he is saved. The person who decides not to surrender to Krishna, but surrender to mind. Actually, we don't decide to surrender to mind, you see. But if we decide, no, I will surrender to Krishna tomorrow. That means I am surrendering to Maya today. There is no third choice. You don't surrender to Krishna. The very fact that you don't surrender to Krishna means you have already surrendered to Maya. So this point we have to very clearly understand. So Krishna says, I have explained a still more confidential knowledge. So you may have a doubt. What is this more confidential knowledge? That means what was the earlier confidential knowledge? Now Krishna is saying, I am giving a more confidential knowledge. So the original confidential knowledge was Brahman. Yes, you remember? Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Nashochati na Kankshati. We saw in this very chapter. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Nashochati na Kankshati Samasarveshu Bhuteshu Madbhaktim Labhate Param. That means you are experiencing a wide variety of things in this material world, but you understand that behind all this there is one support, underlying power, which is formless, which has no qualities, which is the substratum of the universe. Just like you see so many so many golden ornaments, they are all made of gold, but the ornaments are in various sizes and shapes. But the gold is, the base metal is the same. It's all transformations of gold, but ultimately it is all gold. When you melt the ornaments, you will again get pure gold. So just as the ornaments are simply a transformation of gold, or you can see wooden dolls, they are all made of wood, or you can think of sugar dolls, they are all made of sugar. In a similar way, the whole universe is made of Brahman. It's all Brahman. But that Brahman, it cannot be seen. It is intangible. It is beyond the experience of the senses. It is transcendental. It is not influenced by the three modes of material nature. So it is pure, like the screen on which you see the movie. The screen is complete white. You see the movie, so many things are happening, But the screen is absolutely undisturbed, it's pure. And only because of the screen, the movie is running. But still, the screen is untouched by the movie which is running on it. Brahman is like that. So that knowledge Krishna has already given, that is confidential knowledge. Most people in this world do not know about Brahman. They are only carried away by what they see around them, what is tangible, what is experiential. With my senses and my mind, I accept that as real. What I cannot experience tangibly, I deny its existence. That is how we deny the existence of the soul, the super soul, karma, reincarnation. We just deny that. And that is why Krishna says Brahman is confidential knowledge. It is known only to the jnanis. And jnani gains this knowledge over many lifetimes of hard work by accepting brahmacharya, by staying away from the ordinary people, by controlling his senses completely. This is the way he gained his knowledge through the scripture. But that Brahman is not the highest knowledge. That is confidential knowledge. There are a fair number of people who know Brahman, the jnanis, they know. But those who know Paramatma are much less. Only the yogis know Paramatma. So it is called superior knowledge. So now, when Krishna says, Guhyat Guhyataram, that means Krishna is referring to Paramatma. Krishna says, earlier I spoke to you about Brahman, Arjun. Now I have explained to you Paramatma also. Now, on the basis of this information, you decide what you should do. So, Paramatma, in what way is superior to Brahman? As far as Brahman is concerned, we say it has no qualities. So, that means we even deny that Brahman is conscious. Even the consciousness of the Brahman is denied. But when you go to Paramatma, then you realize it is conscious. And it is the same Brahman, the conscious Brahman, is sitting in the heart of every living entity as Paramatma. It is witnessing, it is observing, it is recording, it is guiding and directing, it is supervising the action of material nature. So, Brahman is not simply some inert substance. So, the initial understanding of Brahman is like an inert substance. But as Paramatma, it is actually very conscious and actively involved because the entire material nature is serving under his instructions. He is neutral, but everything is happening under his direction. You see, what an amazing understanding. The Western philosophers can never do this by mental speculation. Unless a Shastra comes directly from the Lord, this kind of understanding is not possible. Look at the nuances of this. The Lord is doing everything, but the Lord is not responsible for anything. He's totally detached, like a water on a lotus leaf. He's totally untouched. He has no interest in this. Prabhupada would give the example of a judge. A judge is sitting in the court, and many people are coming, accused people are coming, defendants are coming, accused are coming, and so much debates are going on. And judge is saying somebody should be hanged, somebody should be released, somebody should be given property, from somebody property should be taken away, somebody should be fined. So many things. And it is affecting all these people in different ways. Somebody goes away happy, somebody goes away unhappy. But the judge is not at all involved. He is neutral. We have to understand. Same way Paramatma is neutral. But everything is happening under his superintendence. Please meditate on this more and more and more. After the class is over, don't just throw it away and forget it. And wait for the next class. 1 hour we sit and then we forget. That should not happen. All this knowledge needs to be deeply deliberated. You should come in the association of devotees and talk with them. That way, you will slowly internalize these things. And beyond everything, please perform bhakti. Please serve the Lord by regularly chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Please pick up the mala and start chanting. Please start offering bhoga to the Lord. Whatever you cook every day, make it a practice to offer to the Lord and say, oh Lord, please accept this. I have cooked for you with love. Please accept this. And then you return it to me as your prasada. I want to eat only the remnants of what has been enjoyed by you. If you buy a nice dress, you offer it to the Lord. Oh Lord, this is what I have bought. Please accept it. I will take it as your mercy and then I will use it. Whatever you do, your salary, in those days we used to collect in cash, put it in front of the Lord. Say, Lord, this is yours. As your representative, I am going to spend it. So, like that, everything we should offer it to the Lord. And in that mood, we should use. So, gradually, this knowledge will become revealed to us. So, this confidential knowledge, how it will become revealed to us? Not by our intelligence. Please don't become confused. This is not a knowledge, something to do with our intelligence, our material intelligence. No, this will come only by the mercy of Krishna, by the mercy of the spiritual master, by the mercy of the Vaishnavas. That is the only way we will get. Otherwise, no. After centuries, also, we will not get this knowledge. So, this confidential knowledge or more confidential knowledge, it only comes from the mercy of Vaishnavas. We should always pray for them by serving the Lord, and we should pray, please send me my Guru from whom I can take guidance. So let us understand, Brahman and Paramatma have been explained, and Krishna says this is more confidential knowledge. Now, Krishna will go to the most confidential knowledge. Let us wait for that. Now we go to the 64th shloka. Let me complete this. So Krishna says, deliberate on this fully. Then do what you wish to do. This is what Krishna is saying. So God never interferes with our little independence. Our independence is little, but that is always given to us, left with us. That the Lord will never usurp it. So Lord and Guru want us to surrender in our best interest. We should agree. This will keep us in Krishna consciousness, and it will perfect our living condition. How to perfect our living condition? All our conditioning should be removed. The soul should become pure. Then the soul will attain a spiritual body and go back home, back to God. That is the perfection of the soul. That is possible only through surrender. So please understand surrender in a proper way. It will take a long time. It will take a long time. But please remember, surrender is not something giving up our independence or giving up our freedom. On the contrary, surrender gives you total freedom. It needs a lot of thinking, and you have to come in the association of devotees, and you should constantly listen to scriptures. Then you will understand what is the meaning of this surrender. Just one simple example I will give. A mother and her newborn child. Who is serving who? Is the child serving or mother serving? The child is actually completely dependent on the mother. But the mother gets so much happiness by serving the child. When the mother is sleeping in the midnight, the child just whimpers, like that. The child makes a sound. Immediately, mother runs to the child. Even before the child will become hungry, mother is expecting, now my child will become hungry. She wants to feed. So, this is actually surrender. Who has surrendered? Mother has surrendered to the child. We will say, no, the child has surrendered to the mother. But child is helpless. Child is not exercising its will to surrender, correct? So between mother and child, it is not the child who is surrendered. The child is dependent. Yes, I agree. But the mother has willingly surrendered. She was not dependent, but she willingly surrendered. Now she has become dependent on the child for her happiness by voluntarily surrendering her happiness to the child. This is what. Same way, when we understand Krishna, his amazing qualities, his amazing love for us, and how much he cares for us, then we will voluntarily surrender to Krishna. So this is the most important thing to know. So surrender is not something that we do against our will. That is impossible. If you surrender against your will, you have not surrendered. You have not surrendered really. So 64th shloka. Sarvaguhyatamam bhuyah shrunu me paramam vachah ishtosi me dridamiti tato bhakshyami te hitam. Now Krishna is saying, because you are my dear friend. Where is that word? Because you are my dear friend. Shrunu me sarvaguhyatamam bhuyah shrunu me paramam vachah ishtosi. Ishtosi means you are very dear to me. Ishta. You are my Ishta. Ishta asi. You are very dear to me. So, I am going to tell you the greatest secret. In the previous shloka, we saw confidential, which is Brahman. Then we saw more confidential, which is Paramatma. Now he is going to tell most confidential, We are going to see that what the Lord is saying. Okay. So Krishna is saying, because you are my dear friend, so all of us should become friend of Krishna. All of us should become friend of Krishna. Rather, all of us should accept Krishna as our best, dearest friend. Nobody else can be more a friend to us than Krishna. He is traveling with the soul. This body is not me. All my friends know only this body. They don't know my soul. When the soul leaves the body, no friend can go with me. But Krishna is traveling with my soul since beginning of time. Even if I am in a pig's body or a mosquito's body, Krishna is still with me. He never leaves me. Krishna doesn't say, you have become a great sinner, I leave you. Never. He will never leave anyone. Whether somebody is like a Ravana or Hiranyakashipu, the Lord is still present within him. Just see what an amazing person he is. So the Lord remains neutral if you don't want his guidance, because you don't want him, you hate him, you envy him, then why Lord will interfere in your life? So he gives you your peace. He stays quiet, but still remains with you. He's always closest to you. He never leaves you, but he remains quiet. So, three types of knowledge, please understand. Confidential knowledge is Brahman. More confidential knowledge, Paramatma. Most confidential knowledge is Bhagavan. Surrender to Bhagavan. So, that is the last knowledge not understood by common man. This knowledge of Bhagavan is not understood by common man. Only the pure devotee understands this knowledge. So, when Krishna is ordering Arjuna to surrender to Bhagavan, it is for all of us. For our good. Not that Krishna wants every soul to surrender to him and Krishna wants to proclaim, see, all the souls have surrendered to me, now I have made them happy. Not like that. By the very act of surrendering to Krishna, you become happy. Please understand. It will take some more time to explain, but maybe in future classes, when we meet in some other forum, you will understand all these things. Not that somebody surrenders and then Krishna says, all right, you have surrendered, now I will make you happy. On the contrary, the very act of surrender to Krishna makes you happy. The very act of surrender makes you happy. And what happens when you surrender? You become equal to Krishna. Krishna will never say, oh, you are a surrendered servant, you are my slave. Krishna will never say. Krishna will allow you to engage in a relationship with him the way you want. If you want to be his servant, Krishna will graciously accept your service. But all the time, Krishna will try to serve you also. Like Arjuna is a servant of Krishna, and Krishna is charioteering for him. Yudhishthira is his servant, and Krishna is becoming a messenger for him. Look at all these things. So Krishna, when somebody surrenders to him, Krishna surrenders to that person. To a devotee, Krishna becomes a bonded slave. That's why pure devotees are so rare. Krishna is controlled by the pure devotees. So that is why it is in the best interest of the soul to surrender to Krishna, and this is the main message of this shloka. Sarvaguhyatamam, highest secret Krishna has revealed. Now you go to 65th shloka. This shloka must be memorized. Very, very, very important shloka. A similar shloka we have read in the 9th chapter also. We are now reading a very similar shloka in the final chapter. Krishna is repeating what he told in the 9th chapter because he is now summarizing. He is summarizing, and the most essential instructions he is presenting it together to us. What is that? All along, somebody reading Bhagavad Gita may think I am reading philosophy. Some impersonal philosophy, I am reading about jnana, about karma, I am nishkamya karma, about dhyana. Like that somebody may think. But here, Krishna is making everything very clear. He says, it is not some impersonal mumbo jumbo. It is about me, Arjun. Bhagavad Gita is about me. I am speaking Bhagavad Gita and I am speaking about me. Why? Because by surrendering to me alone, you will become happy. So I am only explaining about me in a way that you can understand, and then you can surrender to me. You can love me, and in that love you can surrender to me. So this is the message of Bhagavad Gita. So please don't get carried away when somebody says there is somebody giving a lecture on the 3rd chapter, somebody giving lecture on 4th chapter, somebody is talking about karma yoga, somebody is talking about dhyana yoga. Don't get carried away. That's not the message of Bhagavad Gita. Now you are getting the Bhagavad Gita message in essence. And that is 65th shloka. Let us read. Man mana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mam ye vaishyasi satyam te pratijane priyosime. You know this last two words, pratijane priyosime. Priyosi, you have seen a similar word in the previous shloka. What was that? Ishtosi. Ishtosi, Priyosi, same. Every time Krishna is telling, Arjuna, you are so dear to me. Because you love me, I love you too. So, I am telling you, Arjun, Pratijane. Pratijane means, I promise to you. Look at this. So many people give so many promises. Just before the elections, we get so many promises. And we try to believe at least some of them and we become very happy. Oh, this is going to happen if this party will win or if this person will win. But this is the Supreme Lord giving promise, but it is simply in some Bhagavad Gita book and we don't care. See, a treasure is being handed over to us, but we throw it away. This is a promise of Krishna. Pratijane, I am promising, I am guaranteeing, Arjun. Why I am guaranteeing? Priyosi, you are dear to me. And look at another thing here in this shloka, that me, my, I, so many words are coming here in this shloka. Just to make you understand, Krishna is talking about Krishna, not about some Brahman or some Paramatma or someone who has no form, no qualities, no desires. No, we are seeing a person, just like you and I are persons. Krishna is a person. And he says, Man mana. Yes, think about me. Bhava mad bhakto, become my devotee, mad bhakta. Mat yaji, look at this. Mat, it's all he. Mat yaji, you worship me. Mam namaskuru, you offer your obeisances to me. Mam ye vaishyasi, you will attain me. Satyam te, he's telling, assuring, this is the truth. Satyam te, this is the truth. Pratijane, I assure you, I guarantee you. Look at this. This shloka, if you read, you will understand how much Krishna cares for us. Only thing you should always remember, Krishna is talking to you through Arjun. He's talking to you. You are already born or you are going to be born in the future. He's talking to us, all of us. So we should take it personally, what Krishna is telling. So Krishna is telling, just by becoming my devotee. How? You become my devotee, you constantly remember me, you worship me, you offer me your obeisances. That way, you will definitely come back to me. Amye Vaishyasi, you will come back to me. So, look at this. Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me. Is there any confusion in these words? Is it like some philosophy or it is straightforward? Straightforward. This is how Bhagavad Gita ends. If you read 3rd chapter, 4th chapter, 5th chapter, 6th chapter, you may have some confusions. Somebody may think, oh, Jnana is better. Somebody may think Dhyana is better. Somebody may say Karma is better. But this shloka, which is concluding, I am sorry, somebody has to mute themselves, please. Hare Krishna. Someone has unmuted. Yes. Okay. So this is not some philosophy. Always think of me. What is that? Is it difficult to understand? Always think of me. Become my devotee. Worship me. Offer your obeisances to me. Yes, offer your homage to me. Is it difficult philosophy? Is it still some high-level science or mathematics? Some very difficult formula you have to derive the meaning of it? No. This is not something from Ramanujan's book of mathematics, formulas. No. This is so straightforward. But then why we don't understand? Because we don't want to understand. Why we don't want to understand? Very difficult to digest this. We are all envious of Krishna. We are willing to accept a formless God. But when the God stands in front of you with a form and says, look, the formless God is simply one of my energies. It's just a small expansion of me. I am the Supreme. There is nothing higher than me. Matta parataram na anyat. There is nothing other than me which is greater than me. Matta parataram na anyat. Kinchidasti. Nothing even minutely greater than me. That's what Krishna is telling. So then ultimately Krishna says, you will come to me without fail, I promise you, because you are my very dear friend. So this is a repetition of 9th chapter, last shloka, 34th shloka. So Prabhupada says one should not become an official meditator. Official meditator means what? Meditating as a formality. What do? We close our eyes and we repeat some sound repeatedly. I don't know, there's some mission which teaches some root mantra. They say dhatu. They say you go on repeating it and then you will become shunya. Or somebody will say, just make your mind blank. Meditate on the shunya. Then you will become the shunya. Like that, there are so many people who teach you also like that. So you don't become an official meditator like that. 5 minutes to try to make your mind shunya, and all the time you are thinking about what is happening in my office, what is happening at home, what is happening in the market. You are thinking about that. And for 10 minutes you are sitting like that meditator pose. And then you become all pulled into the day-to-day routines of life. That is being an official meditator. But what Krishna is telling? Always think of me. Become my devotee, worship me, offer you homage to me. So Krishna is saying, totally you have to Krishnaize your life. Make your life Krishnaized completely. Our life should be molded to think of Krishna always. All our actions must connect to Him. So the purpose of ISKCON is to teach you how to do this. If you come to ISKCON, if you read the books of Srila Prabhupada, in the association of devotees, under the guidance of superior devotees, then you will know how you can do it and how to become happy right away without doing anything very complicated. Simply by accepting Krishna into your life as the center of your all the things that you do, so that you will be working around Him always. Manmana, your mind will be always thinking of Him. So that is what is recommended here. Not that official meditator, sometimes you meditate and go. And here, Prabhupada is telling something very interesting. I will speak about that for 5 minutes and then we will close. Very, very interesting, because when Krishna says, me, 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 what do you understand? It is the same two-handed Krishna who is standing in front of Arjun, who is saying this. That Krishna who is standing in front of Arjun, he is saying this. So whom should we think of? That Krishna, the two-handed Krishna, who is blue in color like a monsoon cloud, who stands with a flute in his hand, bent in 3 places. He has curly hair which is cascading down his neck, and he is wearing a nice peacock feather on that. And he is wearing Vanamala, a nice garland of forest flowers. He is wearing the Kaustubha Mani in his neck. He is marked by the beautiful Srivatsa mark on his body. And he is having such a beautiful smile with his reddish lips, and his teeth is like a string of pearls. And he is smiling mercifully to us. He is glancing at us with so much mercy, with eyes filled with his compassion for us. That Krishna is what we should meditate on. Not even Rama, not Parasurama, not Vamana, not Trivikrama, not Narayana, not Mahavishnu. This is Manmana. Krishna is telling, think of me. He is the supremost. Please don't get confused. Rama, Narayan, Vishnu, they are all the same person, his own expansions. But here the message is, let them all be there, but focus on Krishna. Krishna is that form of the Supreme Person which is most dear to everyone. He is most attractive to everyone. Just by remembering Krishna, you will become free from all your anxieties. And Krishna has a natural attraction for all the souls. Krishna is most attractive. That is the meaning of the word Krishna, Akarshan. He has the ability to attract everyone. So why you should settle for a form which is not manifesting the full glories of Bhagavan? The full glories of Bhagavan is manifested by Krishna only. That's why even Narayan is an expansion of Krishna. Why? Narayan has expanded for the purpose of this material world, for creating this material world so that the souls can eventually come back. So he is in an official capacity with 4 hands, Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma, and all these things. But Krishna is not like that. Krishna is surrounded by his friends, his very dearmost servants, the Gopas, the Gopis, Nanda Maharaja, Yashoda Mai, Srimati Radharani, the various Gopikas, the cows, the calves. They are surrounding him. Even the trees and the plants, the creepers, the rivers, the mountains, everything in Goloka are deeply in love with him. The animals, the plants, the birds, everything, they are in love with him. So we have to just enter into that Goloka and be there with him eternally. We should keep this in our heart always, and we should always pray that we go back to Krishna. So ISKCON is a movement that was established barely 50 years ago only for this purpose, to teach Gita to people and help give them an institution where they can practice Gita on an ongoing basis in the association of devotees. In this Kali Yuga, if you are not in the association of devotees, you are in the association of non-devotees. That is extremely dangerous. The Kali Yuga influence always pulls you down. If you are in Sattva-guna, it will pull you down to Tamoguna. If you are already in Tamoguna, it will never allow you to rise above that. So this is the danger. We have got such a rare human form of life. So should we waste this opportunity? Not at all. We have come so close to it. Now we should not lose it. Now we are almost coming to the end of Bhagavad Gita. My sincere prayer to all of you, please take it seriously to heart. And please see which ISKCON temple is near you. There are now so many ISKCON temples all over India, all over the world. Please get connected to a temple. Start visiting the temple. Every temple has a morning program from 4:30 to 9:30. Filled with activities. You can go there and do your japa, or you can go there to meet senior devotees, take their guidance, and then practice at home. Once in a week, you can go to the temple. You can do some little services in the temple and become more and more dear to the devotees, and that way you will enjoy, you will relish your chanting and all your Krishna conscious activities. So, with these words, I conclude today's session. The next week, we shall be taking the most important shloka. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam braja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami masucha. That most important shloka we will take next week. Hare Krishna. Just one second. I think I have typed something here I have not shown you. So let me show it to you. What is confidential knowledge? I have already discussed that. Like a quiz, I have prepared it. Can we quickly go through this? We'll take another 5 minutes. You can unmute yourself and give answers. What is confidential knowledge?
Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, yes.
Brahman is the confidential knowledge, Prabhuji.
That's right. Knowledge of the Brahman is
Brahman.
Yes. And what is more confidential?
Hare Krishna,
Knowledge of
Prabhuji, Paramatma, Prabhuji.
Paramatma is the more confidential knowledge. Can someone explain what is the difference between Brahman and Paramatma? Try. Anyone?
Paramatma is the one who resides in every living being.
Yes.
That is my understanding, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Brahman, I am not able to tell. Sorry, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. Does anyone want to try? But Shivkumar Prabhu, one thing, do you agree both are the same, Brahman and Paramatma?
Prabhu, may I answer, Prabhu?
Yes, Mohan Das Prabhu.
Paramatma can be realized by impersonalist, but Brahman can be realized by personalist, who think that the Krishna has got the form. The other side, they don't believe in form, formless Paramatma.
Those who say formless, they are impersonalists, right?
Yes, thank you.
So they go to Brahman. Thank you, Prabhu. So, see, Prabhupada gives these nice examples. Supposing you are traveling towards the Himalayas, okay? From a great distance also, you start seeing Himalayas. And then it looks like one bluish outline. You see, the sky is blue. Within that blue sky, you see a bluish outline that shows the contours of the mountain ranges, correct? You see the range, yeah. And you say that is a mountain. But supposing you have never been to a mountain, you will think, oh, a mountain means this one line in the horizon, one blue line. That's what you will know. Brahman is like that. It's a distant view of God, very, very distant view of God. You can compare it to the sunshine. If you go in the midday outside the house, you try to look at the sky. The sky is covered in the brilliance of the sun. Where is the sun? You don't see the sun because sky is covered in his brilliance. The brilliance is covering the sun also. When I say sun, the planet, the round globe of sun. It's not seen. Only the brilliant effulgence, blinding effulgence is what you see. That is Brahman. Because you are at a great distance, you don't see what is beyond that light. So that is what you get as Brahman. So that is available to people who live a proper life, who do nishkamya karma, and in that process they get jnana, and by that jnana they attain this Brahman, which is underlying material creation. In material creation we see so much variety, but behind this variety there is something which is having no variety at all. Advaitam. There is no two, there is only one, like the screen of a movie hall. They're like that, it's just white. It's not even white. You know, white is also a color. When I say white, immediately you remember black, yellow, green, black. But this is, so that's why Brahman cannot be explained with words at all. It is beyond expression. But that is a distant view. But you go slightly closer. As Mohandas Prabhu said, yogis are able to understand Paramatma, which is the consciousness present in the Brahman, he is able to see. He understands Brahman is actually conscious. The entire Virat Rupa is Paramatma. The Paramatma of the whole universe is Virat Rupa. And also, within every living entity, he is present as Paramatma also. He is the localized Paramatma. So the Virat Rupa is the soul of the universe. Vishwatma. If you see Kunti Maharani praying to Krishna, she will say, Vishwatma, you are the soul of the universe. But also, he is the Paramatma within every individual soul. So that way, this is more confidential knowledge. That means you are going closer to Himalayas. And now you are seeing a little more detail, you see. You see the rocks, you see the huge boulders, and you see more variety within that outline. It's no longer just an outline. You see something more as you go closer. There is Paramatma. And the most confidential knowledge, please. Anyone?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, it is Bhagavan. Bhagavan.
Yes. Would somebody want to add more to that?
It is the personality of Godhead. That is with all his qualities.
Yes. So in Paramatma, we just saw he has consciousness. But with that consciousness, what does he do? Nothing. Neutral, like a judge. How much relationship can I cultivate with a judge, a neutral judge? If he is my father, he is not neutral. If I happen to be the son of the judge, that's a different matter. But in a court with the judge, what kind of relationship can I have? He is a neutral person. He is giving reward to somebody, he is punishing somebody, but he is not having any attachment to anyone. So that way, I cannot have a relationship with Paramatma. Okay, I can wonder at him. Oh, how wonderful, how amazing he is, how perfectly he is giving judgments, how he is guiding everything like that. But there's no relationship. But with Bhagavan, all amazing Kalyana Gunas, the amazing qualities is manifesting, transcendental qualities. And he's so attractive, he's full of the Aishwaryas, opulences. And he's having such amazing qualities, Bhakta Vatsalya. He's demonstrating such great love for his devotees. How a devotee will not surrender to him? When you experience how he gives mercy to Dhruva Maharaj, how he is giving mercy to Prahlad Maharaj, how he is giving mercy to Narada Muni, or if you go to Chaitanya Charitamrita, how he is giving mercy to Sridhar Kolavecha, or to Srivas Thakur, or to Vasudeva Datta, or to Advaita Acharya. We just see how he is relating, he is surrendering himself to his devotees. The Supreme Lord, the most confidential knowledge is that the Lord is a servant of his devotee. That's the most confidential knowledge. Krishna wants to be the servant of his devotee. That is the most confidential knowledge. The Supreme Lord is a servant of his devotees. That's what it is. That's the most confidential knowledge. Everything happens out of love. The devotee will never accept to take the Lord as his servant. But Lord will always try to serve his servant. This is the relationship between them. So this is the most confidential knowledge. What is the central theme of Bhagavad Gita?
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we started from somewhere. Dehinosmin yata dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara. But now we have come to the 18th chapter. 66 is the Charma Shloka. We are in 65. 66 is Charma Shloka. Now we all know central theme is Krishna, 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 nothing else. Krishna, Krishna's devotee, and the relationship between the two. Bhagavan, Bhakta, and Bhakti. That's all. Nothing else. There is nothing else. But someone who is not devotionally inclined, someone who is envious to Krishna, will never get this message from Bhagavad Gita. Even if he reads it a million times, the person will not be able to get it. We are so fortunate because none of us have the qualification. But by the mercy of Prabhupada, who has written such an amazing commentary on Srimad Bhagavad Gita, we are able to approach Gita in the correct way. And we are able to catch the central theme, the most confidential, Guhyataram. That what Krishna is giving, we are able to find it. So what is the goal of human life according to Gita?
To go back to the Godhead.
Yeah, exactly. And how do you go back to Godhead?
Yes. To the spiritual world, Prabhu.
How do you do that?
Goloka.
How to do that?
By chanting
Surrender ourselves
chanting
for Krishna,
so
Krishna prema.
completely.
You have to
Throughout
develop.
it, everything to Krishna.
By performing bhakti, Prabhuji.
By performing bhakti. What is all these things? You are using technical terms.
By serving Krishna.
Bhakti Yogam.
Yeah, what is all
By
these things?
surrendering.
Devotional service.
Yes. I'm not denying whatever you say. Simply you have to fall in love with Krishna. That's all. The goal of human life is Krishna prema. That's it. When you love, you surrender. That's the example I gave. No? How the mother surrenders to her baby. She's 24 hours conscious of her child. Yes. Is it not true? The child is dependent on the mother, but the child is not surrendered to the mother. Child is dependent. But mother is not dependent on the child, but she willingly makes herself dependent on the child. That surrender comes out of prema. So the goal of human life is to fall in love with Krishna. Helplessly, hopelessly, we have to fall in love with Krishna. We should become lovers of Krishna. And in that way, we will become free from all our material attachments. All the material attachment, you don't have to make effort to become free. When you try to make effort, it becomes so strenuous, such a big task. You try and you cannot let go. Like, Aral died, as you start something, then you find it so difficult to tear it apart. But it is not like that. When you develop prema for Krishna, all material attachment, just like that, they fall away from you. You won't even become aware of it. Like Narada Muni, in his previous incarnation as maidservant's son, he had darshan of Krishna when he meditated because the Bhakti Vedantas had blessed him with pure devotion. And so he meditated. Immediately the Lord appeared within his heart and amazingly glanced at him with his merciful eyes and then disappeared. And ever since, Narada Muni could not take that image out of his heart. Constantly he was remembering that form and crying. And what happened? He forgot himself. He forgot his body. He forgot the world around him. He had no material desires, nothing. He made no efforts, you see. He simply fell in love with Krishna. That's all he did. He did nothing more. And what happened? One day, all his karma was finished. Narada Muni was not aware. Narada Muni did not become aware that my karma is finished. And his material body was also finished. When karma is finished, body is finished. Not the gross body only, subtle body also finished. And then he took a spiritual form. But it happened so spontaneously, he was not even aware. And when you take Parikshit Maharaj, he heard Bhagavatam for 7 days, day and night, 24 hours, sitting in front of Sukadeva Goswami, forgetting to drink water, to pass urine and stool, to have sleep, nothing. He was simply absorbed in Krishna Katha. And 7 days, Sukadeva Goswami finished his story and he said bye and he left. And then Parikshit simply absorbed his consciousness in Krishna. He had no fear at all that the snake is going to come, Takshaka is going to come and bite me. No fear at all. He just absorbed in meditating on, because he was always a lover, Krishna Ratha. He was always a lover of Krishna. So he just meditated on Krishna. His soul already connected with Krishna. See, people are sitting and observing. He's sitting in meditation pose. He's doing dhyana. That's what people are thinking. He's doing dhyana. It's a fact also. But actual fact is the soul has already gone to Krishna. Not that this is a dead body. Please don't think the body. The body is alive. But I don't know how I can explain this, but I hope you can figure it out in your consciousness. His consciousness is already gone to Krishna. So what is happening to his body, he's not even aware. In such a situation, Takshaka comes in the form of a Brahmin and he crouches in front of Parikshit, and then he becomes the snake, the mystic snake, and then he bites the toe of Parikshit. And immediately the body bursts into flames, and everybody is saying, alas, 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 the greatest king of the world has just departed. No, he is not conscious of the snake coming, biting, he leaving nothing. He was already absorbed in the Lord. So sometimes we see very pure devotees suffering and all that. It is only in our vision that they suffer. All these are actually pastimes that Krishna is doing to attract all of us towards him. Apart from that, a pure devotee simply cannot suffer because he is experiencing a higher taste, the highest taste. How they will suffer? So who is competent to hear the most confidential knowledge?
A surrendered devotee, Prabhuji.
Yes. Whether you have surrendered or not, at least you should be non-envious of Krishna. At least you should have a favorable feeling in your heart towards Krishna, towards devotees, towards the process of bhakti. If you are non-envious, anasuya way, asuya means envy, anasuya way. Here Krishna says, ishtosi me, priyosi me. These are all additional qualifications, but at least we should not be envious. We should have faith in the spiritual master. We should have faith in the scripture. Then we become competent here. Others, somebody may be a jnani, but may be envious of Krishna. Somebody may be a great yogi, but may be envious of Krishna. They are not at all qualified. Somebody may be a very moralistic person. Somebody may do amazing tapasya. Somebody may do amazing charities. Somebody may do amazing austerities. But they have envy of Krishna in their heart. Never they will get Krishna. So the competence to hear the most confident knowledge is none of these things. Charity, austerity, tapasya, none of these things. A very moralistic, ethical life, none of these things. You should not be envious of Krishna. You should accept Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as the ultimate truth. So when you do that, you become competent. And who is most favored by Lord Krishna? That we will see in next class. Next class and the class after that. Why is devotee most dear to Krishna? Is he really impartial? This is a thought for you. I want to leave this question with you. If Krishna is very dear to the devotees, if he is Bhakta Vatsal, then is he really impartial? I leave that thought with you. So with this, we end today's session. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Dandavat pranam Prabhuji.
Dandavat pranam Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat pranam Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna
Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you.
Prabhuji, Dandavat pranam.
Yeah, I extended the session a little more because we are now closing the Bhagavad Gita course. So whatever needs to be told has to be told. At least the essence of Gita should stay very strongly in the hearts of everyone. So that is why I have broken down 4 slokas, 5 slokas per day, so that we should be able to, after having spent so many weeks on discussing Bhagavad Gita, the essence we should not miss out. So I am extremely grateful to all of you for having the patience to sit it out till the end of the session.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, we are blessed to have such a Guru who is giving such inspiring words. We feel the presence of Krishna all around Krishna Prabhuji. Really, we don't feel like quitting the session now. It is just ringing in our ears, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Let it be always like that. Krishna
We need your blessing.
Chaitanya
Yes,
Mahaprabhu.
Prabhuji. We need your blessing.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, just everybody like this. Krishna Matirastu. You remember
Hare Krishna.
always Krishna. That's it.
Yes,
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, you have cleared my doubt.
Jai.
That I had asked about Bhagavan and Paramatma.
Wonderful. I was looking for you. Thank you. So the mountain example clarified things for you.
Yes, Prabhuji. It was like the lecture was it was to me only. It was lecture like.
Thank you. Yeah, Krishna always takes care of his sincere devotees without any doubt.
Haribol, Prabhuji. It was very nice. So
Thank
I
you.
want to listen to all your classes, Prabhuji.
Hari Hari. Hari.
Oh, nice.
Jai Shri Prabhupada. Jai Shri Prabhupada. वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। गुरुदेव की जय।